In this video, we are going to set up our file services. We will be doing 3 activities, which are setting up file sharing, configuring automatic drive mapping, implementing quotas, and file screening. Before we dive in, please ensure you have the following ready: Windows Server installed on your virtual machine, Active Directory domain services with GPMC already set up, a Windows client either Windows 10 or 11, Pro or Enterprise installed on a virtual machine. Okay, let's get started by configuring file sharing. Our first step is to create shared folder, so we have something to share, and we will set the appropriate permissions. We will also look at NTFS and shared permissions to grant user access. As we go along, we will highlight the differences between NTFS and shared permissions. Okay, let's go to our virtual machine and let's go to our Windows Server 2022. Okay, first navigate to your File Explorer, click on this PC and click on local disk C. Over here we will create a new folder to share later, so let's create a folder and we're going to name it shared. Okay, after creating the folder, right click on it and select properties. We will start with shared permissions, then move on to NTFS permissions. Just to clarify, shared permissions are more general. They apply at folder level. If you need detailed control over specific folders or files, you will use NTFS permissions. Okay, click on the sharing tab and then click on advanced sharing. Check the box for share this folder, and if you click permissions, you will see options for shared permissions. For now, I will give access to all domain users, so everyone in our domain can access it. Click add, type in domain and click check names, and we're going to select domain users. Click on OK, and we will leave it as read only for now. This way all domain users can open the folder. Click on apply and click on OK. Apply. OK. Alright, now let's move on to NTFS permissions. Click on the security tab. Over here we can see more detailed permissions and user groups. You can assign permissions to groups or individual users here. For simplicity, I have added the users group, this one here. We could allow full control, but we will stick with the default settings for now, and just like that we have created our shared folder. So next we will be testing if we can access the shared folder from the client machines. Let's say a user wants to access something on the network. We will set up the client machine and check if the folder we created is accessible. So before we do that, what we're going to do is we're going to create a file just for test purpose, and we're going to name it test, and we're going to drop it inside this shared folder which we just created. Okay, so let's go to our Windows 10 Enterprise. Okay, let's log in to our client system. Okay, so let's go to our File Explorer, and what we're going to do is we're going to right click on this PC here, and then we're going to select Map Network Drives. Okay, we're going to select the letter S just to represent the shared folder, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to copy the path of our shared folder. So we're going to go back to our Windows Server 2022, right click on it, properties, right click on it, properties, go to sharing, and we're going to copy this path. So copy it, go back to your Windows 10 Enterprise and paste it over here. And we're going to uncheck this reconnect at sign in, so it doesn't prompt you to sign in again later. So after we click finish, it should create a shared folder, and we can see that it's working because we have got test file over here which we just created in our Windows Server. However, there's a catch with this method. If we reboot the client machine, the user won't be able to access the shared folder anymore. So let's go ahead and reboot this client machine. Okay, open File Explorer, and let's go to our PC, and you will notice that the shared folder, the shared network drive which we mapped earlier, is gone. This happens because our previous setup isn't persistent and won't save after a reboot, which can be a hassle for users needing constant access. So in order to solve this issue, we're going to be configuring automatic drive mapping. For regular use, we want this shared folder access to be automated. That's where the network sharing comes in. It's a more persistent and efficient way to manage shared resources. To achieve this, we will have to set up group policy object to automatically map network drives for users. So let's go to Windows Server 2022. We're going to create a group policy. So go to Group Policy Management. Open this. Okay, right click on the group policy objects, click on new, and we will name this mapped drivers. Click on OK. Expand this. Right click on map drivers, click on edit. And we're going to be using the user configurations, and between policies and preferences, we're going to be using preferences. So go to preferences, go to Windows settings, and click on drive maps. Right click on it, click on new, select map drive, and for the action, we're going to select create, and for the location, we're going to go back to our location of our shared folder, go back to properties, go to sharing, and copy this. It's here. Click on paste, and we're going to label this as shared. And for the drive letter, we're going to be using S to represent shared. Okay, so click on apply and click on OK. We're going to be implementing this GPO. Cancel this. Go back here. So expand this Europe OU, and we're going to be dragging this map drivers to users OU. Click on OK, and it should appear over here in users. So we're going to be now testing this GPO. So go to your client machine, type in command, and we're going to force update this GPO. GP update /force. Okay, the computer policy update has completed successfully. Okay, close this, and we're going to reboot this client machine. Okay, click on File Explorer, go to this PC, and we have the shared folder. Go inside the shared folder, and we have the test file which we created earlier. So this method is much more efficient as it automatically maps network drives for users without needing to do it manually. So every time the user reboots, the map drives will not go away. Now let's move on to our next activity, which is implementing quotas and file screening using File Server Resource Manager, which is also known as FSRM, for our shared folder. So basically, FSRM is a tool that helps us manage and classify the data stored in our file servers and shared folders. It will allow us to set storage limit for our shared folders and send a notification when space is getting low. So let's go to Windows Server 2022. Click on Start, and let's open Server Manager. Okay, cancel this. Click on Add Roles and Features. Click on Next. Click on Next. Next. And under File and storage services. We can expand this, and we can expand file and ISCSI services, and go down, and we should see File Server Resource Manager. Click on this, click on Add Features, click on Next, Next, and install it. Okay, our installation has finished now. We're going to close this, and we can open our FSRM. Go to Start, go to Windows Administrative Tools, and click on File Server Resource Manager. Okay, let's configure our settings. We will first start with quota management. Quota management will allow us to set maximum storage limits for the shared folder and establish notification thresholds. For example, if our shared folder reaches 80% of its total storage, the system will send an email notification to the admin. Okay, so expand the quota management, right click on quotas, create quota, and we're going to select a path of our shared folder. Click on browse, go to local disk, and this is where we created the shared folder. So click on the shared, click on OK, and for the derived properties from this quota template, there's a set of properties, set of default properties. If it applies to you, then select it from here, but we're gonna click on define custom quota properties and click on custom properties. We're gonna leave this as default, and over here we're gonna set the limit of 100 MB, and for best practice we're gonna use hard quota because we don't want the users to exceed the limit. Click on add, and we're gonna set the threshold limit to 80%, and click on send email to following administrator. And click on OK. Click on OK. Click on create. It will ask you if you want to save this custom properties as template. We can just name this as shared and click on OK. And that is how we set up quotas for our shared folder. Okay, next we will set up file screening for our shared folder. So basically this allows us to control what type of files can be stored in our shared folder. Sometimes we want to restrict certain types of files like video, audio, and images because they are large in size and they can quickly fill up the space. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to expand this file screening management. We're going to right click on file screens, click on create file screen, and we're going to select a path to our shared folder. So go down here, go to local disk and select our shared folder, click on OK, and over here we got like default properties. So if this applies to you, select the one which applies to you, or we're going to select define custom file screening properties. So click on custom properties, we're going to select active screening, and we're going to select audio and video files. We want to block these files. We want to select web page files and executable files because these are the sort of files which are kind of large in size and it can quickly fill up the space. So click on OK and click on create, and we're going to name this template as shared. Click on OK, and this is how you create a file screening for your shared folder.